Okay. All right, being that it's 6 o'clock, I'm going to call the Coos Bay City Council meeting to order. Holly, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Thank you. I do want to let everyone know this evening that we do have Councillor Matthews online with us this evening, and Councillor Stevens and Mayor Benetti will not be joining us tonight. It looks like the first item on the agenda is public comment, and we have Sammy Pearson from the library who would like to make a public comment. Sammy, I'm enjoying this. Could you please give us your name and the city that you reside in?
Certainly. Sammy Pearson. Let's see. Since I live at work, Coos Bay. No, and I apologize. I did not get this on the agenda, which is why I signed up for public comment. Excuse me. I just wanted to give a big public thank you. It is National Friends of the Library Week, and I want to recognize our friends of the Coos Bay Public Library who have been actively supporting the library since 1976, and they have generated through book sales and other events. We're getting close to $750,000 that they have donated to the library since their beginning. So I encourage everyone to go to their store, purchase some books. All the money that they make is then donated to the library to support children's programming. So I just wanted to give them a big thank you.
Thank you, Sammy. Appreciate that. Councilors, any comments in regards to Sammy's comment? No? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. I will note that we do have, oh, Cricket, oh, come on up, please.
Cricket Souls, and I live outside the city limits, but sometimes I feel like I live at the Marshfield Pioneer Cemetery. So perfect to follow Sammy. We have a small display that's still in a work in progress at the Coos Bay Public Library, and it's because this month, October, is considered Oregon Historic Cemetery Month in Oregon, and the display will actually be up through Veterans Day, November 11th, when OBAB, a wonderful group that has helped with many of the city parks, will be coming once again to the Marshfield Pioneer Cemetery to do a cleanup. We have 102 headstones put up in place. We're getting ready soon to start on another 74, and we're getting that. We can always use help. And if you can't come on one of the official cleanup days, you can give me a call. The number's easily available. It's on the Coos Bay website. Also, if you have relatives, you can go to the parks part of the website on the City of Coos Bay, and you can find the people that we have in the cemetery. You may find a relative or a namesake, and you could help us with getting that ready. So, Oregon Historic Cemetery Month, partly because this is when Halloween is in there, so please, remind everyone to be kind to the cemetery. And any questions for that?
No, thank you, Cricket, and thank you for your passion for the cemeteries. It would not be where it's at today if it wasn't for your due diligence and commitment to making that cemetery the best it can be. So thank you. The next item on the agenda is a consent calendar. I would like to note that we did receive a grant from the Judith Ann Mogan Foundation for $40,000 for the Mingus Park improvements, and we also have a block grant for a little over $203,000 from the Department of Transportation. So, councilors, may I get a motion on the consent calendar?
I move we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Action items. The first action item for this evening is a public hearing to consider enactment of ordinance to amend the fats, oils, and grease policy.
Can I just step in for a moment? I think we may have had one more public comment. Yeah? Yeah. Is
Sure,
it possible
come on up.
to?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to come up to the podium and give us your name and the city you reside in, and you'll have 3 minutes, please.
It's Coos Bay.
Okay?
I've spoken to Ms. Rutherford quite a few times. I'm Amy with the Inglewood Dyking District. My question is, why do the urban renewal meetings keep getting canceled?
There isn't anything on the agenda, so when we don't have something on the agenda, it's
They
not
just
necessary to
automatically
hold
cancel them?
Mhm.
Okay, that was my curiosity with
Okay.
what was going on there.
Thank you.
Great question, Amy. Thank you. So going back to the action items, we have a public hearing to consider enactment of an ordinance to amend the fats, oils, and grease policy. Nicole, are you handling that this evening? Jennifer. Jennifer's
take
going to
that.
handle that. Thanks, Jennifer.
Okay. So in June 2022, council approved ordinance 557, which amended the municipal code, chapter 13, public utilities and service. Specifically, the ordinance added a fats, oil, and grease, or FOG, program to the code. To date, staff has been implementing the code and working with local food service establishments. We call them FSEs. The work is starting to pay off. The Water Quality Group has reported they have decreased their line maintenance cleaning by half in certain areas that have food service establishments. So earlier this summer, council requested staff update the FOG ordinance to increase the duration of the minimum frequency for inspection and maintenance from 30 days to 3 months for food service establishments that have internal grease and/or solids interceptors. In doing so, staff observed that the code language that defines whether or not the internal device is undersized should also be amended. As such, staff changed the language that stated when an indoor device requires minimum cleaning more frequently than 30 days, it is considered undersized. Originally, this language stated 7 days. So both of these sections that we changed, they're also going to be consistent now with the outdoor grease interceptor requirements. There's no budget implications. I can answer any questions you may have.
Okay, counselors, any comments or questions? Counselor Matthews, do you have any, I know this was a passion project for you, any comments that you want to make in regards to this?
No, I'm just glad to see that we are moving forward with this amendment. In terms of cleaning, I think the mayor and I had probably the most experience with, the frequency in which that would be appropriate. And I think 3 months is sufficient for most businesses, and the ability for people to request a variance in relationship to that requirement is, I think, appropriate and what is needed, and glad to see that these amendments are being put forth.
Thank you, Carmen. Any other comments? Okay, I will open the public hearing. Are there any comments from the audience in regards to this amendment? Okay, I will close the public hearing. With that said, I understand it's a roll call. Is that correct, Christine?
That's correct, and if I could get a motion and a second, I'll call the roll after.
Great, thank you. May I get a motion, counselors?
I move we enact the ordinance to amend the FOG policy.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the FOG policy. All in favor say, oh, now it's a roll call,
I'll
right,
call the
Christine?
roll. And ordinance amending ordinance 557, the Fats, Oils, and Grease Management Program, and amending the Coos Bay Municipal Code, Chapter 13.25. Counselor DeNovo?
Aye.
Counselor Farmer?
Aye.
Counselor Kilmer?
Aye.
Counselor Cribbins?
Aye.
And Counselor Matthews?
Aye.
Thank you. Ordinance number 569 has been duly enacted.
Thank you, Christine. The next item on the agenda is consideration to approve the after-the-fact emergency procurement for sludge pump for Plant 1. Jennifer.
Thank you. So for background, there is one secondary clarifier at Plant 1. A secondary clarifier is part of the wastewater treatment process, and it separates the treated wastewater from the biological mass. We also call those bugs. So the bugs are then returned back to the aeration basins via a pump. The aeration basins are where the bugs feed on the organic material, which is part of the treatment process. So the secondary clarifier was designed to operate with 2 return-activated sludge pumps. These pumps return the bugs to the aeration basin from 2 different locations within the secondary clarifier. At this time, one of the pumps has failed. It is anticipated the repair of the failed pump will cost between $50,000 and $60,000. Furthermore, the remaining pump is showing signs that it may fail and has been repeatedly serviced by the city's maintenance mechanics. So typically, when a repair exceeds 40% of the replacement value, the equipment is considered for replacement rather than repaired. However, it was discovered the replacement of this pump is $121,245. To absorb the unanticipated cost of replacing both pumps in this year's budget would make it difficult if additional unanticipated items were discovered between now and the end of the fiscal year. Staff's recommendation to the city manager was to purchase one new pump and rebuild the other pump. The cost to rebuild the pump is within the city manager's signing authority and parts have been ordered, but the lead time is estimated to be between 30 to 60 days. Staff was also informed the quote for the new pump of $121,245 would expire on October 5th, 2023. Due to the pump manufacturer's increased costs, the quote price had the potential to also increase. The decision was made to procure the new pump under Sections 11B of Resolution 2202, Emergency Contracts in excess of $100,000. This language states the board may enter into public contracts in excess of $100,000 if prompt establishment and performance of the contract will preserve public funds and prevent uninterrupted government services. Not procuring this new pump would have potential increase in cost to the city and the extended time in which the pump was not in service.
And Jennifer, what fund is this coming out of?
That's a good question. So it's going to come from the Water Quality Fund 3, Plant 1, Emergency Repairs. This line item is, has a budget of $50,000. So no funds have been utilized to date from this line item. Staff will continue to monitor the entire Fund 3, which is Plant 1, Plant 2, Collection Sewer, Collection Storm. And there's capital outlay in each one of those funds, and they should cover the costs unless there's further anticipated costs that are further unanticipated failures that we will incur between now and the end of the fiscal year. And if so, we may have to use contingency.
Okay, thank you. Councilors, any questions?
So we have to have one of these pumps, right? It's not
We
a,
have-
it's
we
not
have to
a
have
like
two.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we
not
have
a
to have
want,
two.
this is a need.
It's not one,
It's not a want, this is a need.
yes.
Any other comments, councilors? Okay, actually, at this point, we make decisions here. Nicole, we could have a question perhaps after we've made a decision?
She can,
So generally, we open public comments at the beginning of the meeting, and then it's led to the chair of the meeting to determine whether or not an item may be open for commenting.
Okay. Since we have a relatively small agenda, I will go ahead and, if you want to come up, do you want to come up to the podium only because other people might have that question as well, so online?
and they're unable to hear
My
necessarily.
question is, where are these pump houses located that are having to be replaced?
Jennifer,
So
can you
these-
speak to that?
Yep. These two pumps are located at Plant 1 at 680 Ivy Avenue,
Both of them?
both of them.
Okay, so these aren't the ones that had to do with Dakota, that you guys were working on Dakota Street and the pump house down in Inglewood?
No.
Okay, thank you.
These are the main treatment plant facility
That's
pumps.
correct.
And they're critical for the entire operation of that plant.
Correct.
Great. Okay, councilors, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the after-the-fact emergency procurement of a sludge pump for Plant 1 for an amount not to exceed $121,245, which includes shipping.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the after-the-fact emergency procurement of sludge pump 1 for Plant 1 for the amount not to exceed $121,245, which includes shipping. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next item on the agenda is consideration to extend the agreement for the proportional sharing of insurance proceeds. Nicole?
Yes, thank you. So just a little bit of background to get us from the history to today. The city entered into a real estate sales agreement in July of 2017 to purchase a scrapyard that's located at 891 Front Street. We did that with the knowledge that the property contained contaminated soils and would need some remediation work. Through the help of an insurance research firm, the property owner's insurance policy was located, and as such, an agreement was entered into in June of 2019, which established a proportional share of insurance proceeds covering the remediation work. The agreement that that the council previously approved was set to expire in November of 2020, and an extension was applied at that point with a new expiration of November 6th of 2023. As we know, this project is currently underway. The removal of the contaminated soils has been happening, but we do know that that work isn't going to be completed, billed, paid, and submitted to the insurance company to meet that current deadline. So we are proposing that we do an additional extension to this agreement, just extending out 1 year. Those proceeds are just available for the remediation work, which we believe that 1 year is more than would cover that period. So that's
And
what
that
we're
would be
asking.
November 6th of 2024, is that
Correct.
correct? Okay, great. Counselors, any comments in regards to this?
So it doesn't change the budget amount, it just extends the time to finish the project.
And essentially how this kind of works, that insurance policy covers essentially this remediation work. So as that work is done, we can then submit that to insurance, and they will reimburse those funds. The agreement between the insurance research firm, the attorney that kind of helped organize this, and then the property owner is we get a share of those proceeds. This project in total is going to have two funding sources. A portion of that will be one of our sponsorship options with one of our DEQ loans, and then filling in any additional needs through urban renewal.
Any other comments, counselors?
Do you have any idea on the timeline? I know you said that a year would be within the limits to get that, but do we have an updated timeline on?
Do we have a
project?
timeline for their, yeah.
At this time, the construction schedule is pretty much this time next year, so towards early fall.
Yeah, so that's for construction. I think the remediation, though, will be finished, at least soil removal.
That's a good point. I was thinking the whole entire project. That's actually
Yeah.
the parking lot. Soil remediation is going to be done here in the next 45 days.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it
great.
does give us a little bit longer than probably what we need, but just knowing that we've been working on this a bit, we're giving us enough time to make sure.
Great. We do have the property owner here, so Steve, did you want to make any comments in regards to this matter? Yes, please.
Steve Schneiderman from Coos Bay, the former property owner at 891 North Front. This has been a very long process, and I agree with the 1 year extension, but I would expect funds to be distributed immediately upon the city receiving those from the insurance company, not dragging it out the full year. If
Steve,
the funds, if
I
the
would have
funds,
every expectation that the city would make those payments immediately. And I agree, this project, I think, will, the longest parking lot ever, 7 years, is that right? Yes. So I appreciate your comments, Steve, and I think we're all very excited to see this project come to an end, and we'll have more parking for people down on Front Street. Counselors, any other comments in regards to this matter?
I was just going to say I appreciate Steve, the former property owner, working with us on that. I know it has been a long, drawn-out process. We also had some unprecedented circumstances in the middle of this when this project started, and so I appreciate his working with the city on this.
Thank you. Okay, I will entertain a motion, counselors.
I'll move, move that we approve the agreement to extend the period of proportional sharing and net insurance proceeds for the remediation of work at 891 Front Street.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agreement to extend the period of proportional sharing of the net insurance proceeds for the remediation work at 891 Front Street. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the city manager report.
Thank you. I just have a couple of items to share. Today I attended a ribbon cutting at the Salvation Army. They are opening up a food cupboard there called Hope Market, kind of a new way to distribute food, kind of gives a shopping experience there. A lot of folks were in attendance, and it looks to be pretty exciting. They've got a lot of community partners to help make sure that those shelves stay stocked. I just wanted to also share that I met with Holly and Beth yesterday to start some preliminary conversations around the Downtown Association agreement with the city that is set to expire in June of '24. I think it was pretty productive. We both went away with some homework, so we'll be coming back together. The goal would be to put together what we believe would be something that the agency would support, and hopefully have something together in February-ish with the goal to have it fully passed before we step into budget. So, also just a quick update. This is not very formal, but I did have a conversation yesterday with the owner of the American Building, who indicated that potentially it may be changing hands, and also coincidentally I had a conversation with the potential buyer. So they're very motivated to do some work there, and just looking to see what that process might look like working with the city. Initial ideas are ground floor commercial and upper floors residential, like single unit, potentially affordable kind of spaces. So hopefully, we'll see. It potentially might change hands before the end of the year. So.
Are we looking at a local person?
And then I just wanted to invite you, and I guess the public, if anyone has interest in attending a open house at the Scout Cabin. It will be the start of our Adopt a Park program. It's on the 21st from 10 to 2. So we have a hero who stepped in to kind of walk that project forward, a member of our Parks Commission. So hopefully that's a good start. I'm assuming, do some tours, and people have an opportunity to come and check out the cabin and see the work that we plan to do. Obviously, do some grants and things to do that work, but encourage anyone who has interest to come and check it out. And that is all I had.
Great, thanks, Nicole. Councilor comments. Councilor Cribbins.
I just want to say I had the opportunity to go to the League of Oregon Cities annual conference last week, Thursday through Saturday. Oregon has 241 incorporated cities. I think a good share of them were there. It was my first time. It was a really interesting opportunity to see how all these different cities work together to try to manage the very similar struggles that we all seem to struggle with. So it was a good opportunity. I was glad I went, and hopefully I learned something.
Thank you. Councilor Kilmer.
I was just going to say the same thing, and was in attendance at the League of Oregon Cities Conference. Very heavy on the housing issue, housing and homeless issue. It is not something that we are just facing in this community, but it's statewide, it's nationwide. And how we get to some resolution is concerning, but also I think we are on the path. It's just taken a long time to get on that path and work towards a solution. One of the panels included some federal legislators, also state, some larger cities, also some view of what other cities are doing. And each rural community is very different in in what seems to be the crux of their problem with the crisis. And I think Coos Bay experiences pretty much all of it. So I think we have a good working solution towards getting to the end goal, which is hopeful. I'm hopeful. So I appreciate the opportunity to attend that. It gives us an opportunity to network with other communities for a variety of things, to expanding their urban growth boundary, to housing, homelessness, like I said, and other things as well.
Great, thank you, Councilor Kilmer. Drew?
Neat. So that parking lot, just so folks know why it can take so long to do a parking lot, that space, there used to be a Hillstrom's shipyard across the way from that parking lot, and when that was running, that was the lot where everyone dumped their lead paint and chemicals. So that's why that one had to be undone so much. My grandpa had worked at the shipyard there. Also made it to the LOC conference, so I got to talk to Bill Strickland that makes some high-end vocational schools throughout the country. He's took some interest in here, so I'm going to be talking to him more about that. Talked to Wyden's office about the Government Accountability Office, Val Hoyle's office about the state surplusing land after it left us out of it. Got to talk to one of Portland's attorneys about the mental health lawsuit that Marion County put against the Oregon Health Authority. They didn't know as much about it, so they're interested now too. And yeah, those meetings run from 9 to 9, so it was a long day, a couple long days. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for the background. I appreciate that on that parking lot. Councilor Matthews.
All right, I just wanted to jump on and add to city manager's report on the scout cabin. I want to give a huge shout out to Commissioner Coco Sutton, who has taken the lion's share of the initiative and the work that has moved this project for the Adopt a Park program along. She's been extremely busy getting everything kind of in order and things lined up for grant applications and for the, I guess, schedule of work that needs to be done. And this open house is really to invite the public to see what the scout cabin looks like currently and to let people know that it is open to the public and that we're trying to make these improvements to make this a place where the public has, I guess, a greater access to this this asset. It's a wonderful facility that just needs some love, and I just want to thank Coco Sutton, Commissioner Coco Sutton, for all the work she's doing. And in addition to that, I want to thank the city staff for being extremely helpful and accommodating. There's been a lot of questions that have required digging from city staff, and Greg Hamblett and Jennifer over here have been just really digging and making sure that things are moving smoothly, and that Coco has, I guess, room to run with her ample energy. So I just want to say thank you to everybody on the city staff for that. Also, I've been walking around town and seeing city staff just busy as bees doing a million different projects, and it's really something that's inspiring. I see a lot of work going on downtown, and I know there's a lot of projects going on, and I just appreciate everybody working so hard to keep things running smoothly. So thank you all for the hard work that you do. That's all I have.
Thank you, Carmen. I was unable to attend the conference this year, but when I did attend it, what I love about that conference is it's a reminder just how fortunate we are to have the staff that we do and how we lead the charge in a lot of the issues that are discussed at that conference. So that feels really good as well. And I also wanted to congratulate Mayor Engelke. I think she is now the vice chair of the Oregon League of Cities, so congratulations to her. And those are my comments this evening. So it is not even 6:30, and I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Good job. Have a good night, everyone.